What's up, gaming heroes, and welcome back to another awesome World of Warcraft video. Today's video is all about World of Starcraft. Now, you might not know what World of Starcraft is, but today's video is going to be discussing all about that. If you would like to stay up to date with more videos like this, hit that like button, click subscribe to stay tuned with all my future videos. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So this forum post is World of Starcraft. So I mentioned about this, how I would really like there to the next World of Warcraft. So instead of having a Warcraft 2, I'd actually like there to be a Starcraft MMO. The whole world with Starcraft is so vast and interesting that I really think that a World of Starcraft could be a really interesting game. It could be very similar to how World of Warcraft functions right now, but instead of there being necessarily like places we go quest through, you could actually travel to different planets to quest, which is quite cool. So World of Starcraft could be a very interesting game on a whole, and you know, they've got the entire universe already there. They're not making more Starcraft games, so I think World of Starcraft could really work well. Personally, I've said this for years. Lots of people always talk about World of Warcraft 2, but I honestly haven't seen any mention of the possibility taking the next Blizzard MMO into space. I don't know much about Starcraft, so I'm not sure if a MMA would be possible, but perhaps WoW could be inserted into the mix somehow. Maybe just World of Warspace, have your orc carrying a lightsaber or your night elf wielding dual blasters. I'm aware that WildStar was a thing. Honestly, that's just kind of cool. Okay, so honestly, I think this is a great idea. World of Starcraft is definitely possible. I've read the Starcraft books, and the Starcraft books definitely has a very interesting world there. You could set it in the time of Mengsk. You could set it as Mengsk is a child. You could even set it where his grandfather is kind of like coming into power, and the mining organizations and everything like that. There's so much politics in Starcraft that there's definitely a world there that could be quite interesting to dive into, and there's definitely a lot of oppression and tragic things that happen in that game that it could definitely be a really cool game. So I think Starcraft as an MMO would be really cool. Do I think it would happen? No, not a chance. I don't think so. I think it's very highly unlikely we'll ever get World of Starcraft, just being honest, from my opinion. The reason is, I think that World of Warcraft is too much of a cash cow. I really do. I think World of Warcraft does so well that they're honestly going to try and keep World of Warcraft going forever. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think they're ever going to turn around and say, right, World of Warcraft's had it, well, that's it. I think they're going to keep World of Warcraft going forever and ever and ever. If, for whatever reason, World of Warcraft fails and goes down the Swanee, fails miserably, and doesn't work out, and they have to stop making new games, then World of Starcraft has a very high chance that it will come about. I really think that. I really think that in order for Starcraft, World of Starcraft to ever appear, they would need World of Warcraft to fail miserably. So bad that people will never ever play World of Warcraft again, or they will play just like the small servers version of World of Warcraft. World of Starcraft could definitely work in that instance, but I don't think it will until World of Warcraft fails miserably, basically. Someone's saying that would be cool, but I think the window of opportunity has closed on that one. Pre-2010 was the time. No, I don't think it's closed at all. There's such a big world for StarCraft out there and so many fans of StarCraft that I think generally this is definitely something possible. Because if you think of all the people who played StarCraft, they were like, what, 20 to... Sorry, like probably teenage years, actually. Probably like 12 to 25-year-olds, right? Now those people are like 30 to 60 years old. They could easily do that and encourage their kids to play, definitely. Would rather have World of Diablo, hoping Diablo 4 is enough. I don't think that would ever be possible, and the reason for that is Diablo doesn't have a big enough world. It sounds really bad, it sounds really silly, but it honestly didn't have a huge world to explore the lore and stuff, so I don't think that would ever happen. I know that Diablo's big. It's not that big. I'm sorry, it's just not. You could do it, but I just don't think it would be a very good game. I really don't. I think Diablo's good because it is what it is. I think StarCraft would be much better. Even when I was my most hooked into WoW, I would have quit for World of StarCraft in a split second. Agreed. I'm going to be really clear about that. If they ever made a World of StarCraft, I would more than likely quit for World of StarCraft. I love the StarCraft world. It's so cool. It really is. Although I think most of the plot lines in World of StarCraft would be political, and I get enough of that nonsense in real life. The problem is I don't trust Blizzard enough to separate the politics of StarCraft versus the politics of real life. The problem with World of Warcraft is the fantasy is really ruined because Blizzard hires, writers to write quests that really reflect what's happening in real life, like all these woke movements, all the politics and the dramas and everything that's in the news, and they reflect that in game. And what that does is ruin the fantasy of the game for the player base. So when they're playing, they're like, oh, this is because of that, and they get taken out of the game really quickly as a result of that. And I think that they wouldn't be able to do that in StarCraft. I don't think that they could really realistically put the StarCraft politics into the game without reflecting what's happening in real life. And I think it would just ruin the game on a whole. And unfortunately, some of these movements are really good. Some of the movements, the woke movements in specific, are really, really good. And we need to push them ahead so that we can start to treat everyone with fairness and respect. But unfortunately, it does go too far. With some of the woke stuff, it does just take the biscuit too much. And it does isolate the player base on a whole, like the ridiculousness. We all know there's a ridiculous woke stuff out there. I don't need to go into specifics. Just generally, we all know that it exists. But we all want to treat everyone with respect and be treated with respect, right? And that's good values. That's basic values. It's the ridiculousness and taking it too far which ruins stuff. And when that's introduced into the game, it just makes people pissed off. And I don't think I could trust Blizzard to make World of StarCraft without making it really politically driven about real life. And I think that would ruin a lot of the gameplay for a lot of people as a result of that. Maybe that's my negative bias coming in there, but I have a lot of respect for Blizzard, but they're a big games organization. They've got too much on the line. It's impossible for them not to. And honestly, for a long time, I was expecting some sort of crossover where the Xel'Naga turned out to be Titans or Great Ones or whatever hotkey nonsense in WoW, and the Protoss were actually linked to the Draenei somehow. I've often thought that. I have actually often thought that the Protoss were connected to the Draenei. I genuinely have thought that, and I have wondered if that is the case. Is tying World of StarCraft and WoW any more ridiculous than some of the plotlines we've had to endure in the last 6 years? No. I think the only difference is, in StarCraft, it's all scientifically based. It's not magically based. But I guess that could just be perspective. Who knows? StarCraft Universe would be better naming scheme. Be huge chunks of work doing multiple planets, though. Agreed. Count me out of any future MMORPGs from Blizzard. Oh dear. They've already destroyed one franchise with an MMO. Why not another? Let's do it. I love how people say they destroyed one franchise. It's not destroyed at all. That's so stupid and moronic to say that. It really is. How can you say it's destroyed? It's just moronic. This game's 18 years old. What other game is 18 years old and still has the player base World of Warcraft has? You absolute sausage. WoW didn't destroy World of Warcraft, it's just old and tired. Agreed. If there's anyone left that has a modicum of imagination, you don't need a whole new expansion to introduce both Diablo and StarCraft to WoW. What? Well, that's stupid. It wouldn't be an expansion, it would need to be its own game, let's be honest. That's just silly. On a whole, I really like the idea of StarCraft as a game, as a MMORPG. I think it'd be really, really cool, and I think there could be some really fun, exciting places. You could have like hubs where people come and meet and play the game together. I think that'd be really fun. On a whole, I really love that idea. I think you can have a Zerg character that you could play as a Zergling, or a Zerg MMO as a Zerg character. Or you could play as a Terran, which is a human, just like a really large human. You could play as a Protoss, which would be really fun. There's so many different things that you could play as for these very specific things, and very different classes. You could have the standard hunter, which would be just someone that shoots. You could have the rogue, which would be literally, I can't remember what they're called, but I think they're called stalkers. Which are Protoss stalkers. You can have so many really cool, exciting, interesting classes in the game. I really like the idea of World of StarCraft. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to hit that like button, click subscribe, and if you want to get awesome dragon t-shirts, then check the link in the description. I'll see you in the next video. This is Erosium, out.